In Excel, the right mouse button always means shortcut menu. And it's a great feature because it alerts you to some of the commands and features you'd like to be able to use. And I say that based on the idea that Microsoft has done a lot of research about how people use Excel. And the Excel ribbon menu system, which is quite extensive, can certainly be intimidating, and particularly if you think of all the many, many buttons and choices that are available there. Suppose you want to make a formatting change in this worksheet, and you click on cell A4, hold down the left mouse button, and drag across the next three cells. Now, you'd like to make some formatting changes. You're not quite sure where to find them, so let's right-click here. Now, this doesn't mean that what we're seeing is every possible command available. By no means at all. What we're really seeing here are some potential choices that we're likely to want to get to. And not only do we see this pop-up menu, above it, we see a feature referred to as the mini toolbar. And for the most part, this consists of buttons and features that you'll find on the Home tab. But is the Home tab always the one that's currently active? Not necessarily. And so these buttons, if we wanted to, for example, experiment a little bit with, say, a yellow background that looks yellow, well, we'll click it, and now it's yellow. And while we're here, I don't think we want to change the font, but we might. There's even a drop arrow there. We might want to use maybe a dark blue font. And while we're here, we might want to use bold. And this is close to the data we're actually working with. Now, if we click somewhere else, the mini toolbar disappears. If you use the right mouse button in different locations, for example, if you were working with the Home tab and you were to right-click on this button, for example, here, you see some choices related to what you might be doing with that button. This has nothing to do with commands in the worksheet necessarily, but it's again a reminder what the right mouse button does. If we right-click a column letter, the choices we see here are different than if we were to right-click on a cell in the worksheet. For example, I'll right-click now on cell G3, and that's a different set of commands. Some of them are the same, but some are different. And if you right-click on a Sheet tab at the bottom of the screen, as you might expect, a different set of choices there. And of course, these are related to the kinds of manipulation you might want to consider when dealing with Sheet tabs. So the right mouse button is really handy. And here's another idea too. Suppose you want to add a new column here to the left of column B. You might right-click on column B. Now, you don't necessarily know which command it is, but insert sounds like it's the one, and so you might use that. Now, later time you might say, well, I don't really need that. How might we get rid of it? Well, you might right-click again on column B. And by the way, you don't have to select it first. Right now, D5 is active. I'm saying to myself, I don't really want that column B there anymore. So I'll point to the B and right-click, and there's delete. So, although not foolproof, the right mouse button is incredibly handy at times because it pares down the list of possible options that you're likely to want to use in any given situation. And when it comes to formatting issues, that mini toolbar pops up as well. And both of them are extremely helpful as you work with Excel.